Hello everybody and welcome to Play Great Games. Now in today's video I'm going to be tackling a big question. Valorant or Overwatch? Which game is better and why? Now I assure you that I have played many hours of and genuinely love both games. There are no special sponsors, no behind the scenes deals or anything. This is a 100% genuine video. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So basically, in this section, I'm going to be going over a very simple kind of overview of this whole question. So why Valorant and Overwatch? I've made other videos on Overwatch and Paladins when it's pretty clear to see that there are similarities between those games. Stuff like Fortnite and Realm Royale, all kinds of different stuff. Now, why Valorant and Overwatch? Overwatch is a hero shooter, a more fast-paced game, and Valorant is a more slower-paced tactical shooter. Why am I comparing these two games? They are both shooters, but they're very different in a lot of ways. Basically, when Valorant came out, it was said to be like if CSGO and Overwatch had a baby. That would really be it. You had like the lights, you had the visuals, you had the sounds, you had the heroes, you had the abilities, all that stuff of Overwatch, and you had the gameplay and the weapons and stuff like that of CSGO. So, with that out of the way, I think we can clear it up why I'm asking this question and why in this video I'll be answering it. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the maps. There are 6 maps in Valorant, and there are 21 maps in Overwatch. This is at the time of me speaking. I don't know if Malavento is in that yet. I don't know if it counts yet, so it's 21 and 6. So as you can see, there are a lot more maps in Overwatch than there are in Valorant, and it's clear to see why, you know. Valorant came out almost 2 years ago, and Overwatch has been out for half a decade, so it's pretty obvious when you see. Plus, it kind of fits, because when we go into like some of the game modes and stuff, you know, you'll see some other stuff in there, and you'll really see why there's so many more maps in Overwatch. So taking more of a detailed dive into some of these maps, it's really unique. I find a lot of these maps to be very unique. I've seen many articles on how Valorant has broken the, what makes a map in video games, how it's broken that with its newest map, Fracture, which is out now. And how I look at Overwatch, and they've got a lot of different maps that vary. You know, you've got a lot of maps that have some backstory in them, like the short dragons with, you know, like Genji and Hanzo. You can see that in Hanamura. It's there. It's all there. A very small example. Like, you can see stuff like that, and it echoes, and that's a nice touch. But there's nothing really, unique about these maps. There are different things that make these maps great. If we take Volskaya Industries, for an example, it has that little, ramp thing. That little, I don't know, elevator kind of thing when you're going to the second point, right? Like, that stuff's cool, and you can make maps in Overwatch cool by using certain abilities like Sim Teleporter, stuff like that, Symmetric Teleporter. That stuff really can make the game interesting in a way, but we're just talking about maps right now. Most of these maps are very, you know, they've got some, I don't know how to put them. They fit their game mode, and they fit it pretty well. There are a lot of details, like these maps do have a lot of time put in them, especially, in my mind at least, Blizzard World. You can see it's definitely a theme park because in some stones they've got holes for speakers and you can hear different voices, and there are small details in the game, stuff like that. It really makes it nice. And then you've got stuff like Valorant, and they don't have some of the backstory stuff as much, and they don't have, you know, some of the unique smaller details in the map. They do have them, but in just different ways. But they do have teleporters, and those are really unique, and they have new interactable and they have different interactable objects, I guess what you could call them, stuff like zip lines and other things like that. It's really interesting when you look at it. Now let's not forget the door crashing in Eichenwald, right? So when you get a little past halfway, right, you get your payload. You get the payload a little past halfway, you get it right up to that big gate, and then it crashes it down. That's really cool. So I will admit, it does have really cool stuff similar to like the teleporters in Valorant, but it's just not as common, and it's not a main part of the game like it is in Valorant. Those teleporters are pretty big in the game, and that door crashing in Overwatch means absolutely nothing other than, when will this door break? We need to start moving the payload again. Now, when it comes to characters in Valorant, it's clear to see that, how do I put this? They were inspired by Overwatch in some circumstances. I mean, Reaper, I'm not trying to, like, Omen, I mean, just kind of like Reaper and Omen and, okay, do I need to say anything else? Reaper and Omen. I mean, it's obvious, it's obvious when it comes to these guys. So they definitely took some ideas from Overwatch. I'm not saying they copyrighted or copied or anything like that, or they're a rip-off or anything like that. I'm saying that they are inspired by these characters, right? It's obvious to see. You've got the teleporter for both the guys. You've got all kinds of different stuff. Though I will admit, Reaper's is way better. So when it comes to characters, the character design, the lore, all that stuff for these characters in Valorant, it is really nice when you think about it, because their lore is stated in so many lines of dialogue. It's crazy. Not only can you just go to the wiki and look up, like, okay, let's see this character's like backstory and stuff like that. You can also go to like their character page, I guess you could call it, in Valorant, in the game, and you could see, oh, well, Omen is like a combination of different memories and stuff, and he's from nowhere, right, and he's come back for revenge or something like that. It's cool. And in Overwatch, it's interesting because, like, their backstory, it definitely is stated, it is addressed a lot, I will admit. You've got lines between Moria and, like, Soldier 76 talking about how, like, oh, if I had known that you were gonna betray this whole time, I would have stopped this whole downfall of Overwatch. All that stuff. It's really cool. So it is there. There is so much natural kind of speaking when it comes to Valorant, right? Because, like, you have what sounds like genuine and natural dialogue between Killjoy and Raze talking about how, like, oh, do you want to, like, go out and, like, test a bunch of stuff like we used to do? And they're like, oh, well, if we get in trouble again, you're telling Brimstone, right? It feels genuine instead of, like, I don't know, they both kind of seem genuine, but I feel like Valorant really pushed it there. In Overwatch, some characters have more abilities than others. If you look at Genji, he has wall climb, he has double jump, those are passives, yes. He has his right click where he scatters his shuriken, he has left click, he has his dash, he has his ultimate, he has his deflect. And then you look at, like, Winston, and he's got left click, his jump, his ultimate, and his shield. And that's about it. It's not consistent between all the games when you really look at it. I mean, like, freaking Genji's got, like, a whole arsenal up his sleeves. I mean, literally, like, oh, you want me to pull a rocket launcher out of my arm? Well, give me 1 second, I'll just do that. And then you have poor Winston, poor monkey, God almighty, poor guy. That's a decent example. And you look at Valorant, it is very consistent with its abilities. Everybody has a set of abilities, the same amount of abilities. They're set in different classes, similar to Overwatch with its tank and damage and support and stuff like that. You have, like, duelist and controller and sentinels and stuff like that. It's sentinel, not sentinels. It's really cool when you look at it. It is cool. And those different classes are given different abilities that help them in different ways, in different circumstances, that are played in different ways. So, yes, it is there. Same with Overwatch. So the abilities are kind of, like, I feel like they're more set in Valorant. Each character will have 5 abilities, for example. Each character will have 5 abilities. No exceptions, no, okay, well, this character would be cool, but he just would be that much cooler if he had one more ability, so we'll give him another one. Nope, consistent. And then in Overwatch, it seems like just more characters they cared about more. I think Winston is one of the best tanks in the game. In certain circumstances and in certain maps, he's obviously and definitely the best. But he's just kind of, like, left out, I feel like. Blizzard's just like, okay, I'll give a monkey a jetpack, but then I see a cyborg samurai running around, just like, holy crap, I need to give this guy, like, all the abilities in the game. I get it, he's cool and he gets more playtime than probably Winston, but still, you know, Valorant does do a good job of that. Some characters have been completely obliterated, like right down to being worthless in nerfs and stuff like that. But they still have the same amount of abilities, though they might be bad. So it is more consistent when it comes to that. Now, when it comes to gameplay, this is something I brought up in the simple review kind of section. The gameplay between these different games is completely different. They might look similar in terms of visuals, but the way that these games play is completely different. In Overwatch, almost everybody has a movement ability. Almost everybody has a movement ability, and they're able to race around the map in some circumstances, or stay in the back and heal and stuff like that. And in Valorant, the best you get is a stim beacon in, like, quick play or spike rush. That's about it. You don't get many movement abilities. You've got the Omen, you know, you've got the Jet who's crazy, stuff like that. But you don't get as many, and they're not as reliable as Omen only has 2. They don't recharge or anything like that. Rounds are quicker in Valorant, you know, some stuff like that, right? You do switch sides in Valorant. That is cool. So you're sticking with the ranked, you know, you switch sides in Overwatch too. And in Overwatch, it's more of a fast-paced. You know, I said that everybody has movement abilities, so they're jumping and racing around the map. And, you know, shooting, you know, Bloom isn't much of a problem as it is. Like, Genji would just be poop. Genji would just be poop if there was Bloom in Overwatch. But there isn't. That's why he's played still. You look at Valorant, right, and you've got Bloom, you've got recoil control, spray control, all this stuff, and it all factors into making this game how it is, because it is very, very, very simple to CSGO in how you've got to watch all this stuff, and you got to do all this stuff to make sure you've got good aim. So it is very similar to that, but these games are still comparable. Talking about gameplay, we're going to be talking about some game modes in this. Valorant has 7, but 3 of those are not, like, there. I think rotational is the word I'm looking for. They rotate through, you know, some days you've got Snowball, some days you've got Replicant or whatever, all that stuff. It's cool, they're fun, you never really get a queue for them, depending on what time you're playing, but still, they're cool, they're not reliable, they're not there. Overwatch does have 7, and most of them do stay there. This is not counting all the crazy stuff that people play in customs. And due to the update that dropped on the 7th, I believe, which introduced a bug that I made a video on that you should check it out. It should be a card in the top right, I hope. There's an even better way to browse the custom game and stuff like that, and it really shows you just how much time and creativity and minds go into Overwatch, so it is really nice. So in the other details section, we're going to be talking about some smaller stuff, right? So updates. Valorant is updated frequently. Overwatch is updated frequently too, but Valorant gets usually a new character, a new map, a new game mode, patches, buffs, nerfs, different skins, a new battle pass, all that stuff. Overwatch only gets like a couple character changes and bug fixes, so it's not that big of a deal, you know, so it's not in the favor of Overwatch as much as it is for Valorant, where whenever it gets an update, you know it's pretty big, there's some hype behind it. I know I make some videos on stuff like that, and so the updates usually are much better for Valorant, and for Overwatch they kind of lag behind, I'm not gonna lie. In terms of quality, I'm gonna be talking more about skins here. Valorant does not have skins yet, as long as I know. You know what, it probably will never get skins because it's such a tactical game. So the skins in Valorant, or at least we'll just call them skins, the default skins in Valorant, they're detailed. I will admit they've got some cool like animations, stuff like that. But the skins in Overwatch, they are very detailed as well. Sometimes they have a different voice line or two, sometimes they say something different, stuff like that. And the quality of them, I don't know. I find Valorant to be very interesting, as their whole game is a very interesting kind of style, you know, it's very interesting. Like, a lot like Overwatch in some ways. Like, a lot. And I do find the skins at least the quality of them in Overwatch to be a lot better. These things are super deep, super detailed, stuff like that. A lot of time went into them, and it's really cool. And accessories. So far, Valorant doesn't have many accessories. You have sprays, you have like titles, you have background things, you have buddies, weapon skins, stuff like that you can get. There's not much else you can get in the game. Overwatch has a lot of stuff, victory poses, victory intros, stuff like that. So those are really cool, and they have a lot of them, which really makes you able to customize your character, your game, your everything in a more detailed and specific way. So that's really cool. I like that a lot. So now for my general thoughts. My general thoughts on these games, they are very different, but they're also very similar. I already mentioned this, like how the colors, how the visuals really are the main part of Overwatch for Valorant, and CSGO is really taken from, or Valorant really takes from CSGO when it comes to its play style, when it comes to its weapons, when it comes to stuff like that. So I really like both the games. I genuinely do. And I will have pointed out a lot of details in this video. So I ask you, which one is your favorite? For you people who think Overwatch is better, why do you think Overwatch is better? And for the people who think Valorant is better, why? I'd like to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you have a great day, and remember, life is short. Play great games.